Earlier this afternoon, I did a video about the importance of conducting 9/11 as an independent investigation to those who are invested in the topic. In this video, I want to break it down even further about what warrants an investigation, how to look at an investigation, and what areas we need to look at in terms of agency involvement, ideological understanding of these motivations and agendas, as well as our foreign policy. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail regarding each of these for a better and more clear understanding of how we can investigate 9/11 responsibly. And the first thing we need to address is how to conduct an investigation. And since 9/11 itself is such an expansive topic, conducting an investigation so broad is going to constitute a little bit more of your time than you would usually for any other subject. And how do we go about investigation of this type of incident? One, we need to collect the data and review this data without bias. Any type of worldview that you may have, whether it be maybe a religious, political, or racial worldview, these cannot hinder the data in which you collect regarding this incident. The second step is to analyze the data. Is the data correct? What is true and what is false? Not to just blindly believe what is being presented to us in reading or video format. I know a lot of people who are basically not fans of reading, but in this subject, you'll have to require more time for reading than watching videos. And if you're not into reading, maybe another subject would suffice for you. Third step would be to correct the mistakes regarding your analyzation of the data, and do not dismiss the data which is factually correct because you find it disagreeable to your certain worldviews. This would be a mistake, and it's a mistake that is profoundly proficient in the 9/11 truth movement. For many people in these multitude of truth organizations, they tend to believe rather than know, and that's a mistake. And a lot of these people, too, tend to use speculation as a form of evidence. And whether it be of a point of view that resonates with their worldviews, or them believing in a remarkably rabid conspiracy theory, such as CGI planes, or nobody dying in the World Trade Center, or a no plane hitting the Pentagon, crashing in Shanksville, or even the World Trade Center. Fourthly, report your findings. And these would be the four steps to conducting an investigation. These are simple steps anybody could use, but it's unfortunate that I have to tell you how to conduct a proper investigation. This is not for everybody. I'm directing my line of inquiry here to those within the truth movement who are basically looking at 9/11 through a rose-colored glass, if you will, and just blindly believing because it caters to their worldview, or that they themselves don't know how to conduct a true, independent, unbiased investigation research. There are three entities who are the primary actors within 9/11, or the primary sources for 9/11, and it's the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. And all three of these entities have some part to play in the September 11th attacks, whether they be victims, whether they be suspects. I'm going to leave the ultimate findings up to you. I don't want you to believe what I have to say. I want you, as a careful student of this particular area, I want you to research everything that I say. And then if you find the information I provide consistent and factual, um, that you will begin your own journey down this road, learn as much as you can, that then you become the teacher, and then you go and teach others who may not be um, uh, privy to the information regarding September 11, 2001. Um, so how do we look at these three entities? Well, let's start with the United States. And one of the primary movers of the United States is the intelligence apparatuses that were involved in pre 9/11 and post 9/11. The CIA, the NSA, the FBI, and the DIA. With the CIA and the NSA, primarily, you want to concentrate on the Yemen hub. And if you have not heard what this is, the Yemen hub was the Al Qaeda source of all electronic communication, primarily phone calls. The Yemen hub, it was located in a city called Sana'a, and it is Sana'a, Yemen, and it was a house owned by a person named Ahmed al-Hada. Ahmed al-Hada is a close associate to Osama bin Laden when he used to fight on the battlefields in Afghanistan against the Soviets in 1979. Ahmed al-Hada bought a home, and this became the primary connections hub for all phone calls regarding Al-Qaeda operatives in the world. And so the NSA, who in 1992 had a tap on the satellite phone that Osama bin Laden was using, notices a number kept calling this satellite phone. And so this number became red flagged. In the NSA terms, that means this was an important hotline number. There was a reason why this was being called and why it was called being made to the number. And so the NSA became the first agency to become aware of this number. And so they began tapping the line of the Ahmed al-Hada home. Now, the point of contention is, what year did they start? According to the NSA, it was 1998, but according to multiple agencies like the CIA and the FBI, it was 1996. I think it was 1996, only because that was the year that this number began showing up on Osama bin Laden's satellite phone. And this came out later in a trial of Mohammed al-Hawali, who was a suspect in the 1998 East Embassy bombings. And that number in 1998 became public. And so that's where I think you should concentrate on, because this is where all of the communications for Al-Qaeda start, right here. And so the CIA and the NSA become the prime agencies for gathering intelligence. And this is years before the 9/11 attacks have happened. The FBI, the Pent Bomb investigation, which is the investigation into the 9/11 attacks, and it's the largest investigation to date regarding the agency's history. Now, they weren't privy to any intelligence gathering regarding the Yemen hub. They didn't have a bug inside the home. And so they were getting wherever little information that the CIA and the NSA was willing to share with the agencies. A lot of these agencies don't like to share information with one another because they like to be the primary agency regarding an investigation. And also the Pachinko plot. The Pachinko plot, which was the primary source of where the 9/11 operation came from, not Operation Northwoods necessarily. The Pachinko plot, which was a plot to bomb 12 airliners coming from the United States and Southeast Asia and have them all explode over the Pacific. This was also a multi-layered operation constructed by Ramzi Youssef, who was a suspect in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, and his uncle, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who is suspected to be the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks. And of course, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, and their operation, Able Danger, which was a group of military analysts who were collecting metadata regarding terrorist operatives or terrorist cells anywhere in the world. In the United States, according to one of the analysts, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, the analysts at the Able Danger program got wind of two operational cells in 1998, and that was a cell called the Brooklyn cell, led by the blind Sheikh Omar Abdel Rahman, who was affiliated with the Landmarks plot, which was a plot to destroy multiple landmarks in New York City. And of course, the Mohammed Atta cell that was in New Jersey and New York and Florida. And this information was suppressed. With the Able Danger program, it came out later that Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer gave primary facial evidence of the Able Danger program uncovering these two cells inside the United States. And the 9/11 Commission, Philip Zelikow, who interviewed him personally, neglected to mention this in the commission final report. So regarding these agencies, these are the operations I would tell you to look into, to have a general understanding regarding what led to the 9/11 attacks and what was the agendas for the attacks. And of course, this is not defending any type of narrative, whether it be from the 9/11 Commission or the other congressional inquiry called the Joint House. I'm not agreeing with the FBI Pentagon bomb investigations. I think the FBI Pentagon bomb investigation, although it was the largest investigation in the agency's history, there was a lot that was neglected regarding the 9/11 Commission report. It's not an official narrative, as the Truth Movement would like to think. It's an incomplete one. There was a lot of information, millions of documents and files that were uncovered by the Commission. However, there are hundreds of thousands, even millions of documents and files that are locked away in the National Archives for the next 20 to 30 years. However, that doesn't mean that we can start putting little bits of the puzzle to get an understanding of what the picture might look like. In regards to the United States and their relations, and now we're talking about foreign policy regarding the United States, their relationship with Saudi Arabia and Israel, the two largest foreign lobbies in the United States, the Saudi lobby becoming, which is the most financially lucrative lobby of the two. What are their motivations? What are their agendas? How much in the way of financial donations do they make to our congressional districts of the House of Representatives and the Senate? The Israeli lobby, AIPAC, how do they influence our political sphere? How do they influence, in return, how does the lobby's influence the United States politically in the region, the Middle East, Southeast Asia? What does this ultimately mean for the Middle East and Southeast Asia in the future? Um, Pentagon issues. Are they motivated by these lobbies? If so, how? Um, the notion of military expansionism, which is obvious to anybody with even a working brain cell. How does that influence politics in the region? How is it a detriment for the Arabs in the region? Um, in terms of the oil magnates of the United States, like ExxonMobil or Saudi Aramco, do they have any motivation in our political sphere? Does their corporate industries, their shareholders, have any influence on our elected officials? Are our elected officials on the boards of some of these corporations? In regards to Saudi Arabia, um, how does one have an understanding of their ideological foundation, which is the Wahhabi Islam? What is Wahhabi Islam? Who is the founder of Wahhabi Islam? Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. Uh, what is his profile? What is his background? How does this ideology affect the Arab world and ours? What are the theological structures of the two main branches of Islam, Sunni and Shia? How does their opposing views affect the Arab world? What does this mean for the coexistence of the Arabs and the Muslims in the region? Uh, does the United States have any influence with certain Arab countries? Which ones? Does the Saudi kingdom finance jihadi extremists in the region and elsewhere? If so, what is the primary agenda overall? What is the Saudi General Intelligence Directorate? It is the main intelligence arm of Saudi Arabia. What type of influence do they have in the country, and how much of the GID knew about the September 11th attacks? Do they have any type of association with known terrorist operatives such as Osama bin Laden or Ayman al-Zawahiri? And what information do they know regarding the September 11th attacks? And what type of information are they suppressing regarding future civil suits regarding the 9/11 victims' families, which are currently taking them to court here in New York? Regarding Israel, what is the nature of the Israeli-U.S. relationship? How did it come about? What is Zionism? How does this ideology affect the country and its inhabitants? What are Israel's enemies and friends in the region? What is the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC? What are their primary goals? What are their motivations and agendas? How does this lobby influence our political structure here in the United States? In regards to intelligence apparatuses, what are the Israeli Mossad? Who are the Mr. Arvim? How does the Israeli religious sector differ from the Israeli nationalist sector, which are the Zionists? How does that affect the foreign political atmosphere in the region? In regards to what events in history should we investigate to have a further understanding of the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001? Well, that's going to depend on how invested you are on the subject. Now, a lot of you may have not much time to invest in this subject. It may not pose a problem, but like I said, 9/11 is a very expansive subject, and there's a lot on the plate already, and I'm going to give you a little more. And so these are the points of history that I think one must have a general understanding. You don't have to be an expert in these subjects, but a general understanding to have just an understanding of why the attacks took place on September 11th and what the motivations were. The U.S. Zionism Foundation of 1900, the U.S.-Saudi relationship, which started in 1933, the 1968 Israel-Arab Six-Day War, the 1978 Camp David Accords, the 1979 Afghan-Soviet War, the 1979 Saudi Grand Mecca seizure, the 1979 Iranian Revolution, the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103, the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the 1995 Bajinka plot, the 1998 U.S. Embassy bombing, the 2000 Millennium Plot, and the 2000 USS Cole bombing. And all of these historical points have a direct association, a direct link to 9/11 attacks. The goal of my channel is to provide the public with primary sources of information regarding the subject of September 11, 2001, and for the viewer to have a familiarity with certain topics that are affiliated with it. And I have 19 playlists right now, and that's going to grow. I think I have now over 1,000 videos uploaded, and I think I'm the only person in the world. I could be wrong, but I checked. But I think I'm the only person in the world who has uploaded the entire 9/11 Commission and Joint House Inquiry Commission reports. And I broke it down to where you're not looking at a 3-hour or 4-hour video. I made it manageable in increments of like 5 to 10 minute videos each. And I have a lot of documentaries. I have a lot of videos about foreign policy, the intelligence agencies, radical Wahhabi Islam, Saudi Arabia, Israel, the intelligence agencies. Like I said, more playlists are coming. And what I want to dissuade from happening is to give my opinion or to speculate about what I think happened on 9/11 or what I believe happened on 9/11. That's irrelevant. And it's okay to entertain speculation if it's going to be helpful in your investigation into the attacks of September 11th. But you cannot use speculation as a form of evidence. In other words, for example, if you say, well, I believe no plane crashed into the Pentagon. Well, I don't care what you believe. It's what you know. What do you know? How do you know a plane didn't crash into the Pentagon? And I only use that point is because that seems to be the point of dissension amongst many of those in the 9/11 Truth Movement. And it's an important topic. So I want to be a source of primary information. Now, like I said, I want you to discern what is true and what is not. I don't want you to blindly believe what I'm telling you or what I'm presenting on my channel. I think I would be horrified if you did. And I also don't want you to be a follower of me. I would like to have you as a guest on my channel and for you to learn or educate yourself about this matter and the topics that are affiliated with the subject. But I don't want you to just, sit on your own and follow me. But I want you to take that information, like I said previous, and I want you to open your channel. You have a voice too, and you're just as important as me. We're all in this together. And I'm no leading voice. I'm no expert. I'm just a sole person who has a vested interest in this topic. And my primary goal for this channel is to make you a plant. I want you to take the seeds of this information, and I want you to grow, and then you go and plant seeds and watch other trees grow. And together, we can make a true movement, a real movement, not a movement that goes backwards based on conspiracies and speculation. I want you to become the movement. I want you to become a leader. I want you to become a facilitator in this journey into um, maybe opening even a new investigation. At this point, it seems hopeless with all the dissension and the rapid conspiracy theories involving 9/11, which have basically defamed a lot of the leading experts in this field. Um, and so in the future, I'm going to produce more content where I will speak on these issues that I mentioned previously in hopes of causing you, the viewer, to become more comfortable to endorse your own content. And that's my hopes regarding this channel, is to bring about information that you may have not had been privy to, and for you to learn, and then you become the teacher. Because what we need desperately in this regard, in this atmosphere of September 11th, is to bring back um, reasonable and rational discussion, which is absent in every single viral forum on the internet. I've been on Facebook and I left because I was so dissatisfied at what I was witnessing in regards to um, any type of intelligent discussion regarding 9/11. And um, I hope that one day that this will become the norm, that we'll have channels, maybe on YouTube or BitChute or Daily Motion, wherever, where there's viral media, that will have more channels that are dedicated on the subjects that are important uh, in the spectrum of September 11, 2001, and that from there we can create a true movement, a movement that is invested responsibly and not led by their emotions or by their speculations and beliefs. And then maybe, just maybe, we could start holding people accountable uh, that are basically ignored and dismissed because they have been hiding under the shroud of the conspiracies that have blanketed September 11, 2001.